Welcome back to the channel. Today I will be talking about the weekly closes that we had last Sunday and what to expect this week. So I'm starting things off with Bitcoin on the weekly chart, and what we see is a bullish weekly close for Bitcoin. And for this week, it's currently Tuesday, and we're seeing some pretty big moves to the upside to start things off for the week. Now, switching over to the 6-hour chart for Bitcoin, we see that we have resistance at this green line. So when you draw a line that connects these resistance points, you get this green line. And what we can expect is for Bitcoin to find some resistance when we touch this green line around 73 to 76,000, somewhere over here. Because the green line is sloping upward, the price will change over time and the target will become higher over time. So the good bullish signs for Bitcoin is that we completely ripped through most of our resistance areas. We had no resistance at all over here. We completely pushed through it. Over here, we broke through the resistance line pretty quickly, and it looks like we are finding some support over here. So the key price target for this week is somewhere over here around 73 to 76,000. Now I'm switching over to the weekly chart for KuCoin, where we had a very bullish weekly candle close that was above the previous all-time high. So in crypto, this is one of the best trades that you can take, because when we have a bullish close above a previous all-time high like this, normally what happens is you see a pretty significant move to the upside where the price starts to trade at a new high price point. So that's what you're seeing for KuCoin. On Sunday, we got a weekly close that was above our black line, which has historically been a resistance line that has kept the price down. So over the next few weeks, I'm expecting to see long green candles pushing the price up, and that's what we are starting to see this week. We had pretty significant daily candles, especially for Monday. We went from $20 to $24.46 in just one day. Now, if we switch over to the short term for KuCoin, what we are seeing is we have now left this orange parallel channel, and we had a break over here, and it looks like we might have support over here. These candles haven't finished yet, so we want to see if we get a bounce over here to climb up higher. And if we don't get a bounce here, the next area to look for a bounce would be at this green line, because we had resistance over here, and so we can look to see if we get a bounce and start finding some support over here. Now, to finish things off, we have Shiba Inu making some sideways price movement, and what we see is we're having resistance at this green line, and this is on the 6-hour chart, and we're also having support on this pink line, which has been resistance over here. So turning this resistance into support over here and potentially over here would be a bullish sign for an upward price movement. But if we fail to go above this green line, then it would be a concerning sign of a drop. So you could either take a short if Shiba Inu starts to break below this pink line, or you could take a long if Shiba Inu starts to break above this green line. And this is a pretty significant price movement from about 59% from the pink line to the orange line. The orange line is long-term resistance for now. It connects between this price point and this previous peak that we have. We could definitely pass the orange line, but for now this would be the short-term price target for Shiba Inu. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is RSI. I got a question from Kevin Kidman in the last video, so I want to clarify some things for Kevin and anyone else who's interested in understanding RSI. So Kevin's question is, how do you know which time frames you should use when you're using RSI? And my answer to him is, you need to switch between the different RSI time frames and see what's happening in the big picture while also zooming in the small term picture, so that you, on the smaller time frames, so that you can see what's happening together. So the big picture and the short term picture, and you want to get as much information as possible. So for the smaller time frames, what you will see is when you're trending up, you want to keep an eye out on something called bullish divergence. And divergence just means you have two things going in two different directions. So with RSI, you get divergence when your price, for a bullish divergence, when your price is making a higher high. So here you have a higher peak compared to this peak, and at the same time for the RSI, you're diverging and you're having a drop in the RSI value at these two peaks. So over here and over here are your two peaks that correspond to the peaks over here. So the RSI value dropped from 89. You can see the RSI reading over here. The RSI value dropped from 89.63 to 81.37, while your price has gone up, and that gives you divergence. And so you should sell over here at this higher peak, because when you get a divergence like this, you're going to have a pullback in the price, and this corresponds to about a 3% drop. Now, some people like to do short-term trade where they will sell over here, they'll wait a few hours and buy back in, and this is called scalping. So RSI on the short term is useful if you want to do scalping. Now, when you're looking at the long term, I switched over to the daily chart. When you're looking at the long term, what you want to look out for is when your RSI gets very high. Over here you have an RSI of 89, and you want to look for signs of reversal. So you see a two doji candles and you're starting to see sideways price movement, and at the same time you have a high RSI on the daily chart, so that should be a sign of a drop, and this would be the ideal time to sell when you're trading long term. And what you would do is wait a few days or a few weeks. In this case, this would have been about a few weeks. And the key thing to look out for is to see if you get a bounce in the 40s or 50s range over here. So if you do get a bounce over here, you want to look for signs of reversal. And right here you'll see a bullish engulfing candle where you have one red candle and then a longer and bigger green candle in the opposite direction. This is a sign of reversal while your RSI is in the 40s and 50s range. So that signals that you will continue to have upward price movement, and so this is the ideal time to buy. And the reason for that is because the way RSI works is if you get a bounce in the 40s and 50s range, what it means is that the bullish trend will continue. So if you don't get a bounce in the 40s and 50s range, then that's when you should be concerned of a lower drop down. So because we got the bounce, that's a confirmation. Because we're in the 40s and 50s range, that's a confirmation for the RSI, and we have a sign of reversal here. So that's when you take the risk of a trade for a continuation to the upside. So thank you for asking that question, Kevin. And if anybody has questions, just leave a comment and be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We're a new YouTube channel, so your likes and subscribes and shares will be very helpful in letting other people hear about us and for the YouTube algorithm. And I will start putting charts for every chart that I'm talking about over here. I'll put the link down in the description for every chart that you see here. So we've been talking about Bitcoin, KuCoin, and Shiba Inu. So I'll put 3 charts for each of those crypto. But if you have other recommendations or other charts that you want me to look at, just leave a comment and I'll discuss that in the next video. Thank you. Take care.